All right, getting paid to own a Porsche GT4. Now, this isn't the first time somebody's ever been paid to drive a car. And I'm not talking about like professionally, I'm talking about somebody who purchased the car, owned it, and then sold it and made a profit. Now, that was not my intention to, do that. Like, I'm not flipping cars. But that happens with pretty much anything of value. As a matter of fact, about a year ago, 4Runners, your typical Toyota 4Runners, were being sold for about as much as the individual purchased it or more because of that chip supply issue and because of the most important economics factor, supply and demand. There just wasn't any vehicles. There was no trucks, there was no SUVs, so the prices went up. Well, when it comes to the exotic sports car world, it's the exact same thing, except that there's a lot smaller supply of high performance exclusive cars. And also, there isn't typically a cycle with it. A lot of these cars just keep appreciating. As a matter of fact, here recently, I read about a guy who, he was very successful. He was featured in the city's newspaper, and he talked about that no matter if it was real estate or stocks, there's always an up and down. When it came to high-end cars, he never lost an investment. He actually usually made out. So when I was looking at my GT4, I knew that Porsche's GT cars were very rare. I mean, there's not a lot of them. They're made exclusively for the track. They're high performance cars, and they're usually the top of the food chain when it comes to Porsche. But I knew that the 2016 GT4 was going to be one of those cars that was going to go up in value because it was the first generation of the GT4. They only made that body style with that 3.8 engine for 1 year in 2016. Now they have the 718 GT4, and there's multiple years of that, and they changed the look of it, and they changed the engine. So I knew the 2016 was going to be a rare car, but it was also a car that I wanted. And at the time, I felt that the prices were really good, and I thought that for the car, you're getting a lot of car for the money. So I purchased the car. So I had the car for a little bit over 2 years, and I think I put about 5,000 miles. I mean, I drove it back from California to Colorado. We did all the cool drives. We drove it. We enjoyed the car. And then I bought a lot of the most common performance upgrades, minor ones, because there's not a lot to do to the car, and a lot of random stuff. And I did a lot of videos with it. I made a lot of content. I made a lot of cool people. So I enjoyed the car, drove the car, and made content for it. But then it came time to sell it. Well, just 2 years of ownership, I put it up for sale. And when I was doing my market analysis of how much I should put it for sale, I realized that it was already up at least 15% of what I paid for it. Now, again, I'm not into the whole like market evaluation and like trying to time the market and buying cars and blah, blah, blah. I just know that certain cars are of value. Like I bought my 1994 Toyota Supra in the 2013 or 2014 era, around there. And that at those point in times, a super pristine, mint, clean twin turbo automatic Supra was in the 20s. Now, if you know, Supras are now 6-figure cars. So, I mean, I just knew that one day, if you found a pristine twin turbo, no matter what the transmission was, that one day it was going to be worth a lot. So I wanted a Supra, but I also knew in the future that these cars are going to be collectible. That's why I also picked up an FDRX7 because I want to make videos about it. I've always wanted to own one. It's a lot of fun, but I know it's also one of those cars that in the future, if you buy a really good condition one, that you're going to be able to enjoy it and you're going to be able to exit out of it in a good way. Again, I'm not doing it for a business. It's one of those things where you buy smart in the beginning, so when you do sell, if you do sell, you'll set yourself up for success. And that's what I was doing. So I put the GT4 up for sale. I didn't do any consignment. I didn't do anything like that. I did private party. I just put it up on the rent list and it sold. Now, one of the big things about buying cars is taxes. I'm not gonna lie to you, like tax took a big chunk of me being able to sit here and say, man, I made a killing on the GT4. You know, when you buy a car here in Colorado, you're paying almost 9% of tax. And if you think about it, hypothetically, a $100,000 hypothetical car, you know, you're gonna pay about $9,000. So that's a big factor. But luckily in my situation, I was able to sell the car and I was able to come out by covering the initial cost and the taxes and the insurance and all the modifications and everything else that was associated with the car. But in my case, I was able to add on about a $5,000 like premium to all the videos that I did. So I essentially made, I would say when everything's said and done, I owned a car for 2 years, put 5,000 miles on it almost, and then I enjoyed all the modifications, made all the videos, and after taxes, I would say it was about $12,000. So after I took everything into consideration, I got $12,000 to experience a Porsche GT4. So yes, I was able to own a Porsche GT4 for 2 years for free. Now this is what the big guys do. This is what the big honchos do. These are the guys who own the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, the Bugattis, the Zondas. These guys don't pay to own their cars at all, like at all. Like they literally own the car, sell it, make a profit. Well, I hope you guys learned something. I was excited to make this video because again, this is just sharing some knowledge with you guys. I'm all about trying to think stuff, brainstorm stuff, and approach stuff intelligently and strategically and able to accomplish the mission. All right, guys, thank you for watching. You take care, stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.